Hi there, it's Shauna Drew here, and I just wanted to post a quick video with a totally different kind of line of thought and topic today, because this is where my heads are at right now, and I think it might resonate with some of you. So I've been doing a lot of reading and learning and asking about mindset and creating a new reality, creating abundance, in whatever way that looks like. And I keep coming up against some brick walls, which I know are partly, personality and beliefs and all of that. But one thing that's really struck me, and I'm wondering if this, rings true with you also, is that, a lot of the messaging that's out there is written by men. And not that that's a bad thing. I, completely appreciate the wisdom and the insight. But I was thinking, quite a lot and sort of berating myself with, why can't I just get this? And, sort of come down to the answer that perhaps it is fluctuating hormones that make it hard to maintain a consistent intention and to follow through on a steady basis. So, how do we rein in our thoughts on a daily basis? How do we rein in our emotions so that we're not thrown up and down and maintain a consistent intention and vision for our lives? So, women's hormones change through the month, and as do her emotions and her neurotransmitters and her sensitivity to stress. So I do think that we actually think quite differently through the month. And, as I am going through perimenopause, where those fluctuations are even greater, meaning the ups and the downs and the swings are bigger than they used to be, it's amplifying a bit for me and making me wonder if, perhaps this is why women, hit a phase of wisdom in most societies post-menopause, that, the insight and the bigness of the fluctuating hormones have led to, greater insight and wisdom, but the stability of, hormone balance is maybe what allows that to actually manifest eventually. So not that all is lost in the years leading up to that, but these are some thoughts today. So, for example, your cycle changes if you're a menstruating woman not on birth control, hormonal birth control. Your cycle changes, and with the hormone swings come different insights. And this is something that I've been following with my own cycle for a while, mostly just in terms of predictability and actually workflow and creativity. But what I find is that, in terms of holding on to this creative energy of, changing thoughts and reality, is that there's certain points in my cycle where I find that a real struggle. So, let's think about the different phases of the cycle. So when you're menstruating, that's a letting go phase. It's a time of sort of energy depleting, and leading up to that phase in the premenstrual part, it's like the negative things in your life get amplified and brought to your attention. So I don't think that our minds are creating new events and circumstances. It's just bringing things that we might need to let go of or shift or change get really big during that window. And then perhaps the menstrual phase is the time for letting go. Similarly to how people look at the phases of the moon, the full moon is the time for letting go of things and creating a ritual of, having an intention to shed some layers or beliefs. So then after menstruation, there's usually a period of fatigue. So after, the depletion, the blood loss, all of that, we sort of go internal for a few days. For me, that phase is quite dramatic. I get very depressed and low energy, but, maybe the message here is that it's a time for stillness, a time for rebuilding the yin energy, a time for meditation and quiet thought. And then as that shifts, we go into the ovulation, the creativity. And this is where we may find it easier to embrace an idea of abundance, of creating new thought patterns and really flowing with that. Personally, I find that about a week before menstruation is where that peaks for me. Maybe that's the peak of progesterone in the cycle. And I get into this intense phase of productivity and creativity and production. And then it starts to amplify the negative again. So, just some seeds for thought right now. I will talk more about this as I gain more insight, because I'd love to crack the code. And, I feel like I am on the brink of understanding how to bring this, this idea of manifesting and creation to a way that fits with women's varying cycles. So I will keep speaking about this. I would love to hear any comments if you have them. And thanks for joining me. I'll be back in a day or two. Have a wonderful day.